Guys, we are almost here. Today is the first day of probably the favorite month of most NFL fans, the month where football returns. What's going on, everyone? And welcome back to the 12th Horseshoe podcast here on Surge Sports TV. I am Jack Rizzo, joined alongside by my co-host Elijah Weintraub. Eli, we're 6 days away from the first game, 9 days away from the first NFL Sunday where our teams play. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
Are you ready, man?
I'm super excited. And is it Sunday yet of next week? That's the only message I have. Is it Sunday yet?
I can't wait. I'm unbelievably excited. Like
Super
it's all in
excited.
my I nothing gets me more excited than the first Sunday football
I
season.
it is because
Despite
my favorite part about it is just seeing all the failure for certain teams that say they have so much on the line. That's the best part. Like they're like the overrated going in and then backfired.
it's
That's
been
always the best part. But we'll see.
it's been so long, man. But yeah, it's gonna be a great season though. The 104th season in the NFL. Today's podcast, we are gonna be giving our season predictions for each team, playoff teams, award predictions. I have made a playoff bracket that I'm gonna
I did
share
too.
at the end, and Eli did as well. Okay. Now before we begin, as you guys might see on Eli's background, he has added the Plinko board on the background. Um, obviously the news this past week that unfortunately TV legend Bob Barker, former host of The Price is Right, passed away at the age of 99. R.I.P. Bob Barker.
Yes, our thoughts and prayers always. It's a tough loss for anybody who always watch games just like I did, and for anybody who just grew up watching Bob Barker. Obviously, we couldn't get to watch him every day at 11 o'clock when Price Right is on, but he's a great legend and will always go up in history. That's for sure.
Yeah. So how today's predictions video is gonna work is we're gonna go team by team, in alphabetical order. We're gonna give our record prediction. Who we think is gonna win the MVP? Who do we think is gonna be like the MVP of that team? What position are they going to finish in their division? Are they going to be first, second, third, or fourth? And just some extra notes. And then we're going to go, and then we're going to tell us which 7 playoff teams from each conference we think are going to make it. Then our playoff bracket from the wild card round all the way to the Super Bowl, and then our prediction. So MVP, offensive, defensive player of the year, offensive, defensive rookie of the year, coach of the year, comeback player of the year, and whatnot. All right, let's be
Let's get it. Let's
let's
get it
let's
going.
not waste any more time. All
I
right, the
agree.
first team we're going to talk about is so they're first in alphabetical order, but they're probably going to finish last in the NFL, and that is the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, this team just I don't even know what to say about it. I've seen like training camp videos of how horrible they look on both sides
Yeah.
of the ball.
Oh, it,
They don't really have any talent. They don't really have any talent on this team. Kyler Murray is still on the PUP list, so he's going to miss at least the first 4 games. And I wouldn't be surprised if he misses any longer. It's crazy. This was a team that started 7-0 2 years ago, and now they're a dumpster fire. They have a new GM, a new coach. They haven't even announced a starter for Week 1 yet.
right, and
It's a disastrous year for Arizona for
it's
sure.
going to be a disastrous year. But on the bright side of things, if you look at standards from Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, you're on the good side.
We're not there yet, Eli. We're talking about the Cardinals.
Right. I'm just saying. I'm aware of that. I'm just saying if you're looking at the positive side of it for any other team, you're looking at a great year. If you're looking at Arizona, it's gonna be another struggle. It's not gonna end well, and it's gonna be a very disappointing year. And they're lucky if they're gonna get at least 2 or 3 wins.
It's clear. I mean, it's clear that they are the worst team in the NFL. They're probably even worse than some of the other teams that have tanked in the previous year.
Right.
So I have the Cardinals going. I have them going 2-15. Now
Mhm.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they went 0-17. This team is just that bad.
You
They're going
see,
to be last in the NFC West. As for my MVP, I'm gonna go with Buda Baker. He's like really the only good player on this team, and he's probably gonna end up getting traded at the trade deadline anyway. So who's gonna be the MVP? I have no clue, and they're definitely gonna end up with the first overall pick in the draft.
will absolutely agree with that. That they are going to get the first overall pick no matter what. I'm going to go with 3-14 on this team. I'm going to be a little generous. I think they will get some type of wins. Now, I don't think it's going to be a lot. I could be definitely wrong, which I probably am wrong, but I do think that they are going to win a game somewhere or another. And towards the end is where they're going to start waking up and smell the coffee, is what I'm going to say. And I agree that they will end fourth in their division for as well.
Let's hope it's iced coffee because it's already hot enough in the deserts. They don't need to be drinking that. They don't need to be drinking any of that hot coffee. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. This team is just they're just gonna be bad. Sorry, Cardinals fans. Hey, on the bright side though, you do have 2 first-round picks next year. There's a chance you can end up with 2 top 5 picks, but let's just move right along to
But
the.
yeah, who's your MVP?
I said Buda Baker.
Oh yeah, I agree. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I had the same thing written down. Okay.
all right.
Next.
Let's go now to the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this might be controversial, but I think the Falcons are going to win the NFC South. I have them going 10-7, and they're going to beat the Saints in Week 18 in the winner take all game. Uh, at the Superdome, the Falcons are going to go into the Superdome and beat the Saints. When you look at this team, I think it's extremely underrated. You have 3 really good running backs with Bijan Robinson, Cordero Patterson, and Tyler Algier. I think Desmond Ridder with a full offseason as the starter is really going to step up. Drake London and Kyle Pitts are some nice weapons that they have. They added some nice players on defense like Calais Campbell, Jesse Bates. They added Jeffrey Okuda in a trade with the Lions. There's a lot. I think there's a lot. I think the Falcons aren't getting enough credit for how good I think they can be next year.
Absolutely, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to also go with the Atlanta Falcons winning the division, and the first place for the South. I'm going with a 9-8 per season record, and I'm going to say Bijan Robinson for the MVP winner. Now, Atlanta Falcons. Why am I choosing them? Well, you don't have a lot of open choices. Tampa Bay, after Tom Brady left, it's been a struggle all year round, especially last year, and now it's just going to continue with that crazy run. Carolina, yeah, you might say, okay, they're okay. You know, they got a new quarterback, but they're still rebuilding. They're not fully ready yet. And for New Orleans, they're going to try hard, but they're going to end up losing it at the end. So I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons. I believe that is the team to win the NFC South this year.
They have the easiest strength of schedule in the NFL this year. They again playing their own division is really going to help. They play the AFC South. They also play the Cardinals this year. We know how bad they are. I honestly like call me. A lot of people are probably going to pick the Saints to win this division, and we'll get to them a little later. But I don't know. I like Arthur Smith as a head coach. He's gotten 7 wins in the last 2 years with Matt Ryan and Marcus Mariota as his primary starting quarterbacks. So why not a young guy with some potential like Desmond Ridder? And I think the Falcons might be the surprise team in the NFC this year.
I agree. And
Yep.
there is no doubt with it that they were
And
going to be the surprise.
I also have Bijan as my MVP. I think he's just going to be fantastic, both as a runner and a pass catcher. All right,
Absolutely.
let's move on to let's go to the first AFC team in the video, the Baltimore Ravens. Now,
Okay.
the Ravens, I think, are going to have one of their best teams that they've had, considering the fact that they now have weapons for Lamar Jackson. They haven't really had any since he came to Baltimore in 2018, but they added OBJ, they added Zay Flowers in the draft. I still like Rashad Bateman. Their 2 running backs, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, should both be healthy. Their defense is also pretty. I think their defense is actually underrated now because I don't think it gets talked about enough. And I have the Ravens going 11-6, not winning the division. They're gonna be one of my wild card teams. Spoiler alert. So they're gonna finish second in the AFC North, and I think Lamar's gonna be the MVP. I think that's an obvious one. Again, I just as long as Lamar can stay healthy, the Ravens are gonna be dangerous in the AFC.
I have them also as second in the AFC North in their division, but I'm going to go with 9-8. They have an interesting schedule coming up, and with these new additions, we could see some ups and downs with this team. For my MVP, I'm going with Lamar Jackson, and I think that he is, the key player for this Baltimore team, and Baltimore should know without him, this team is not going anywhere far, despite of who they picked up and who they didn't. I do have them as a wild card team as well, but that's spoiler alert. And yeah, I do think they're going to go 9-8 and still go in second place. And we all know why they're in second place, but we'll get to that team in just a little bit.
Remember, the Ravens almost beat the Bengals, though, on the road
Right.
in the playoffs last year with Tyler Huntley as their quarterback. So imagine how much better they'll be with a fully healthy Lamar behind center.
Right.
All right, let's move on to the Buffalo Bills. Again, a team that's fallen short last year. They had the best odds to win the Super Bowl last year. Went out in the divisional round. Now it's gonna be Super Bowl or bust again this year in Buffalo. As for the record, it's actually gonna be a little lower than a lot of people probably think. I have them just going 11-6 for a number of reasons. Number one, their schedule is sort of tough. I mean, they do have road games against both Kansas City and Cincinnati, the two best teams in the AFC. I think they're both better than Buffalo right now, and they play in a tough division. I mean, I'm not high on really the Jets. Spoiler alert, but there's still three teams in that division that are at least not going to give easy wins to the Bills like maybe in past years. So they're 11-6. However, I still have them winning the division. So it's fewer wins than what you probably would think, but the Bills are still going to be really good and they're going to be dangerous in the postseason for sure. And obviously, Josh Allen is the MVP.
I agree. MVP is definitely Josh Allen. Buffalo Bills are going 13-4 though. Why I go 13-4? They're one of the hottest teams in the AFC. Yes, they're going to have some lots of ups and downs, but we all know they're going to be the toughest team to look out for and the toughest team to watch. They're going to win the division no matter what. It is clear that they're going to win it because you don't have too much of a competition when you talk about two teams, not about one, which I'll get to that second place team in just a little bit. But yeah, I agree. Buffalo Bills will go 13-4, first place in division. Josh Allen is going to be the MVP. They're going to be really, really loaded this year and ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that might hurt them is that Von Miller is still currently on the PUP list. He's going to miss the first 4 games. That's probably just to get healthy for the postseason, though. The Bills' schedule to start the season isn't really that tough. I am excited for that Jets game, though, on Monday night, which now is 10 days away from today. That game's going to be awesome.
That is
But
going to be awesome because it is going to be a choice of whether or not that the Buffalo Bills have a chance in that AFC East. Also, if the New York Jets have a chance at all, and was Aaron Rodgers a failure? Remember, we only saw Aaron Rodgers one play that where he scored a touchdown during that preseason game just a few days ago. So we are obviously going to be seeing for the first time, how does Aaron Rodgers really fit in with this team? Is this the right choice? Was this the right decision? And is it worth continuously talking about this New York Jets team?
yeah, totally agree with that. All right, let's go now to the Carolina Panthers. A team that I've actually seen some people think that they have a chance of winning the NFC South. I disagree with that. I have the Panthers going 7-10. That's going to be third place in the NFC South. As for their MVP, I'm not going to go with Bryce Young. I'm going to go with Brian Burns, their top pass rusher, one of the most underrated defensive players in the league. Why do I think they go 7-10? I just don't really like Frank Reich as a head coach. As simple as that. He was here in Indianapolis for 4.5 years. It was a pain for a lot of that to watch him coach, other than the first year. I think he's going to hold Bryce Young back. And this Carolina offensive line, they're going to have to protect him because obviously the small size is definitely a concern because is he going to be able to withstand these hits? Preseason, the Panthers really didn't look like that great. Bryce Young was like just okay. I'm not really a big fan of the weapons they have there. They don't really have like Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore are gone now. Like their top offensive weapon is probably either Adam Thielen or DJ Chark, which is honestly pretty concerning. Defense is still young. I think it's just gonna be a year of growing pains for Carolina, but 7-10 because again they have a pretty easy schedule and playing an extremely easy division.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that they're gonna end up in fourth place this year with their NFC South division. I'm going with them as 5-12. I know what you're saying, easy schedule, but this is also a new rebuilding team. I'm not too confident about how they're gonna end up, how they're gonna go. I'm gonna have Bryce Young as my MVP this year. Obviously, I think going number one pick, there's gonna be a lot of pressure on him, and I think it'll work for the better, and it'll prove to Carolina he was a great pick. However, I don't think it is going to be a successful year as they expect it to be. So I'm going 5-12. It's like a little harsh on them. It's almost like a Arizona Cardinals record, but that's what I'm gonna go with.
Let's move on to the Chicago Bears now, a team that for some reason a lot of Colts fans hate the Bears. I kind of do too. I mean, their fans, I don't really like their fans. Sorry, Josh, if you're watching this. I know you're a Bears fan, but I just don't really like your fan base that much. So the Bears, though, I think they're definitely going to improve this year. I'm gonna say they go 6-11, which is actually double their win total from last year of 3. Getting DJ Moore is gonna be the X factor. Justin Fields finally has the number one weapon. I like the Darnell Wright pick in the draft. He's not gonna be great right away. But the Bears, again, they're kind of a young team that's still rebuilding. They've got a ton of draft picks for the future. I think Ryan Poles is doing a great job there. They added some nice players on the defensive side of the ball. I just think that the offensive line is still going to struggle a little bit. And again, they're a young team. I'm not sure Matt Eberflus is the right coach to lead this team. I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to replace him at some point. But I think the Bears are definitely going to improve, and they're going to be a fun team to watch for sure, especially with Justin Fields because they were last year, even though they went 3-14. But they'll be even more fun this year with DJ Moore.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting division, and I'm definitely super excited to see them. However, I'm gonna go with the same record like I did with Carolina, 5-12. I don't know if they're gonna be that strong of a team, that well of a team. They're gonna end their division in fourth, and I have DJ Moore as my MVP. Not super hopeful with this Bears team. Maybe it'll change, and maybe they will have a better record, but that's my prediction.
I, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the division they play in is not like really that good. I just think the Bears are a young team. They're inexperienced. I just
Right.
think they're gonna. I don't know. I just they could have more wins. They could have less. The Bears are one of the toughest teams to figure out. I will say though, they looked pretty good in the preseason. Justin Fields in the first preseason game went 3 for 3 for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, 2 of those touchdowns came on screen passes, but still, that is a crazy stat line for a preseason game. And a
Yeah.
lot of people are high on Justin Fields. He's definitely talented. He definitely has a chance to be really good, but we'll just have to see with the Bears. All right, now let's go on to the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't really have a lot to say about them. We just know they're going to be one of the best teams in the AFC. Joe Burrow to me is the clear number 2 quarterback behind Patrick Mahomes. They have the best receiving core in the league. Their defense is really underrated with Lou Anarumo. Joe Mixon is back again. I have them going 13-4. Um, first
Yep.
in the AFC North. Obviously, Joe Burrow's gonna be the MVP. Still waiting for that extension. I agree with what Dan Graziano said though on Wednesday. I think it will get done. And the Bengals are just really good teams. Dak Taylor's a great coach, and as long as they stay healthy, they're gonna be great again.
I think you copied me because I went 13-4, Joe Burrow winning, and I also got first in the division as well. So yeah,
Well, it's
and we all know Cincinnati's going to be the team.
just how it works sometimes. And I forgot to mention for the Bears, Justin Fields is my MVP, but I kind of talked about him a lot during my Bears segment, so you can probably figure that one out. So yeah, Bengals first in the AFC North. Eli, do you think the extension gets done before the season starts? There's
Oh, absolutely, it'll
nine
get
more
done.
days.
And if it doesn't get done, that's a shame on Cincinnati because that is one of a kind quarterback, and if you lose him, you're done, and we all know that. And it's going to get done. Just a matter about when and how. And if they don't excuse me, a good deal, it's really a shame because he's one of the best players out there in the NFL right now.
Well, if the Bengals don't get it done, they'll franchise tag him next offseason. Then, hey, I cannot see him not wearing a Bengals jersey ever again. That guy has
I know.
single-handedly changed the entire city of Cincinnati, and now the
I
Reds are
agree.
starting to turn it on in baseball. So Cincinnati's got a bright future in sports. Good for them. They've had ever since the Reds won it all in 1990. It's been pretty rough over there in Sin City. I mean, no, sorry, that's Las Vegas. Just Cincinnati, because I Sin like the beginning of Cincinnati starts with Sin. So
Yeah.
I'll call it the Natty. I don't know if that's what they call it, but
Well, that's good enough. Good
okay.
choice. Okay,
All right.
next.
All right. Let's stay in Ohio. Let's go to the Cleveland Browns now, another team in the AFC North. There's definitely some talent on this team. A lot of top heavy talent with Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson. Obviously, we'll see if he can bounce back. The O line's still good. They traded for Elijah Moore. We'll see if he can be a valuable asset for the Browns. On defense, you have Myles Garrett, who's one of the top 5 defensive players in the league right now. Great pass rusher. Denzel Ward's a nice corner. Browns have a top-heavy team. But they play in a really tough division. I think they're going to go 7-10 and miss the playoffs. And they're going to finish last in that division. MVP Nick Chubb, he's the best running back in the league. Probably a top 10 offensive player in the league. The only running back I think I'd be okay with paying because he's just that good. And it's crazy. He came back from that brutal leg injury he had at Georgia, and he's been able to turn out a great pro career, and he's going to continue to do that. But unfortunately for Cleveland Browns fans, you play in a tough division. I don't know how good Deshaun Watson's going to be, and you're going to finish last in your division. I hate to say it.
You copied me again. Nick Chubb, MVP. I have 7-10 season prediction, fourth in the division. I don't know how. I don't know why. It's on paper, and you just sent me your thing.
This was not planned, guys. By the way,
This
we
is
did
not
not plan.
playing. I had no idea his predictions till 2 seconds ago, and I had this printed out 30 minutes ago. So
Don't worry, guys. I've actually seen some of his predictions, so I some of them are bad. So we're not going to be equal on all of
okay,
them.
well,
All
you're
right.
correct, but so enjoy it while you can, folks, because when you get to your team,
Oh God.
it's
Okay.
gonna be
Let's go to the
really fun.
let's go to my America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. I hate even saying that out of my mouth. The only thing I hate saying more is Broncos country, let's ride. And I just said it again. Cowboys, I mean, we know how talented they are. They cannot do anything in the playoffs. However, in 2023, I don't even think they make the playoffs. I have them going 9-8, missing out on the playoffs because of a tiebreaker, which I'll get to the team later. Um, Dak Prescott had 17 interceptions last year in 12 games. I don't even know how they finished 12-5 last year. I guess they just got really lucky at points, but I think the Giants and the Eagles are both miles ahead of where the Cowboys are right now. They also have one of the tougher schedules in the league this year. The NFC, I think, is pretty. It's not as good as the AFC, but there's some really good teams in that division. And plus, the Cowboys have to play the AFC East this year, which might be the best division in football. Plus, the fact that they always underachieve. 9-8 for the Cowboys, no playoffs for Dallas. And as for the MVP, Micah Parsons.
8-9 on the season prediction. Trevor Diggs, the cornerback for
Trayvon, not Trevor.
Trayvon,
You say that
excuse
like
me.
every episode.
My bad. For the MVP, and I'm also going third in their division. Yeah, America's team is gonna be America's failure,
Let's hope so, because
and
even
I'm
though
in
they
the
are
missing
America's
playoffs.
team, nobody likes them.
No
I
further
I
comment.
don't know why the Patriots aren't America's team. I know everybody hates them too, but hey, they've won 6 Super Bowls since 2000, and hey, and they should be called America's team because their name is literally the Patriots.
I think because Dallas is the American team because the star is the logo and it's on the flag.
Yeah, but yeah, whatever. I don't like the Cowboys, and I don't,
Patriot, you think of Canada when you think of their anthem.
who the Patriots?
Yeah,
Uh,
when you think
uh,
of the anthem.
okay, let's just
True
move on
patriot love.
before we get into like that further.
Okay,
Okay,
before we get to
what
history.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, let's go to the Denver Broncos now. Probably the most disappointing team in the NFL last year. I just talked about America's team being my second least favorite slogan. Now we're at the team that has my least favorite slogan, thanks to good old Russell Wilson. We already know how Eli feels about the Broncos, but before he starts ranting, let me at least try to get my prediction in.
Go
Uh,
ahead, I'll give you a few
I'm
seconds.
going with I just only because Sean Payton is here and he's like one of the greatest offensive minds of all time. Have the Broncos going 8-9. Obviously, still they're going to miss the playoffs. They're going to finish third in the AFC West. Um, I think Russell Wilson's going to at least improve this year. Losing Tim Patrick definitely hurts, for sure. Their defense real was very good last year, and if their offense can at least be decent, then they have a chance. But again, they play the Chiefs and the Chargers are both better than them for sure. And remember, the Raiders swept them last year, even though I think they're worse. So you never know what can happen. But 8-9, they're gonna miss the playoffs. All right,
Is
now I have to
there
hear
even
about Russell Wilson.
is there even a competition? We all know Chargers and Kansas City is going to go in first place and second place. Of course, the Denver Broncos are going to finish in fourth place. There is no question about it. 6-11 is my prediction. I hate to say it. I hate the man for that he switched teams, but I'm gonna go with Russell Wilson's MVP because I have no idea. I think between him and Sean Payne, that's gonna be your like focal point for this Denver Broncos team. I hate to say it, but you have to. And yeah, there is no playoffs for them. So
I disagree. I have Pat Surtain as my MVP, the corner, one of the best young corners in the league. But I don't really know how good they're gonna be. The Chiefs are way better. Chargers are better. I don't know if they're that much better, but yeah, I just can't really see the Broncos doing. They'll be better than last year for sure, just because they don't have Nathaniel Hackett anymore. But yeah, no playoffs for them. Now let's go to maybe the team I'm most excited to watch this year, other than the Colts, obviously. Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. First off, I love Dan Campbell. I honestly think he is the best coach in the league. That's probably an exaggeration, but I stand by it.
all right.
They were what a second half they had last year, and then going into Green Bay in freezing weather, knocking them off. We talked to Dan Graziano about that as well because he was there. And now that Aaron Rodgers is out of the division, this is the Lions division to lose, and I'm going with 10-7 for the Lions. I know that's only one more win than last year, but not having Jameson Williams for the first 6 games is going to hurt a little bit, and they have a tough first 2 games to start the season against the Chiefs and against the Seahawks as well. But that Seahawks game is at home, so that's going to help the Lions. But 10-7, they're going to be first in the NFC North. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the wide receiver, is going to be the MVP, and the Lions are going to go far in the playoffs. absolutely pumped for this team. I cannot wait for that game against Kansas City this Thursday night. I am pumped for it.
I am super excited for that one, but I'm going 10, same thing, 10-7 as the record prediction. First in their division. I think this is the team this year, and this is going to be a surprise. And we knew it was a surprise, especially last year going in to that playoff, missing the playoffs because Seattle. Thank you. And yeah, and I'm going with Jared Goff as the QB MVP winner this year.
Lions are they're just be a fun team to watch. They're like such like
It
a
will
good
be.
feel good story. I don't think there's many fans in the NFL that are not rooting for the Lions, except for the NFC North fans, obviously. But the Lions they're just such a fun team to watch, and I think Jared Goff gets he's criminally underrated because probably the Matthew Stafford trade, but he's done so well in Detroit, and I hope he's their future quarterback. And again, do not sleep on the Lions this year; they are going to be good. All right, let's stay in the NFC North and talk about the Green Bay Packers. Now, obviously, with Jordan Love as their starting quarterback. Um, I mean, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers had sort of similar careers in Green Bay. They both won a Super Bowl early in their careers, and then they would come up short every year after that. They both won a number of MVPs with the Packers, made it to the NFC Championship game a number of times and lost. So, and now that Rodgers has gone to the Jets, he's probably going to go to the Vikings next year and completely replicate what Brett Favre's career did. But here's the thing, though. If the Packers won only 8 games last year with Aaron Rodgers, how many games are they going to win with Jordan Love, who has one career start? That's why I have the Packers going 5-12, last place in the NFC North. I just don't know if Jordan Love's going to be ready just yet. But obviously, if he doesn't do good this year, they shouldn't give up on him. I think he needs at least 2 years before being able to have like a full evaluation of him. I think the defense is underrated, but I just think they're the worst team in this division. And as for the MVP, I'm gonna go with their edge rusher Rashawn Gary, who I really like as a player. But Packers 5-12, last place in the division.
Yeah, you see, I agree with it's gonna be a young new start for this Green Bay Packers team, but because the way that their division's gonna be this year, I'm gonna have them in second place, going 9-8, with Aaron Jones, the running back, as their MVP winner in second place. Now, I know it sounds weird and it sounds rough, considering what they have in store this year. It's just I don't know where else this team is going to land, especially knowing on how interesting this rest of the conference is going to be, and there may be a surprise this year. Regardless of if he had only one career start or not. So that is my pick, and probably is wrong, but
That's one of the more under the radar games that I have for week one. I think the Bears Packers game in Chicago. You got two young quarterbacks, two teams that are kind of like retooling now at this point. The Bears have just one win at Soldier Field against the Packers since 2011, and that came back in 2018. But now that Aaron Rodgers, who's the official owner of the Bears, is out of the division, I think the Bears are going to. I think the Bears have a pretty good shot at winning that game. Of course, they beat the 49ers last year in week one, and the Packers are a much worse team than them. But Packers Bears, a different rivalry now that Aaron Rodgers is out of the division. All right, let's go back to the AFC now. We have a comment here for great work, fellas. Keep it up. Yeah, amen, brother. That's totally agree with you. Thank you for the support. Thank you, everyone who's tuned in so far.
and
Really
please feel free
appreciate
to
it.
comment
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
using the YouTube chats if you're watching on YouTube. We'll love to hear your thoughts and if you agree or disagree what we're saying. So
Yeah, if you disagree, that's great. If you agree, that's
love to
also
hear it.
great. All right, let's go to the Houston Texans now. Team that's looking for a new identity. They drafted CJ Stroud. They drafted Will Anderson. They made some other signs in free agency like Jimmy Ward and Dalton Schultz. I love D'Amico Ryans as a coach. I think he's going to be a great hire. He's one of my favorite coaching hires of this past offseason. As for their record, they're not going to succeed right away. CJ Stroud is going to have some struggles. I'm going to go with 6-11, which is third place in the AFC South. I think Stroud will be the MVP of that team. His accuracy is just off the radars. I think it's going to be another year or two before the Texans really start to elevate into a team to take serious in the AFC South.
Yeah, I don't think the Texans are going to have another good year as well. I think regardless of who's playing and who's not, they're still going to have a rough year. And I'm going with 3-14 as their record. CJ Stroud
Whoa,
as
that's a
MVP
little rough.
winner. It's rough, I know, but I don't have faith in this Texans team regardless of who they have, and I'm going fourth in their division. A little rough, I know, but it's got it.
But
Someone has to say it.
the Texans won 3 games last year with Davis Mills. You don't think they're going to win more than 3 with CJ Stroud, who's like one of the most accurate rookie quarterbacks we've seen in a long time?
No.
Wow. Okay.
I have no faith.
I'm a
Even though
Colts
he's good,
fan.
even though he has no, even though he's good, the offense has to succeed though, and that's going to be the struggle.
I'm a Colts fan, so you would think I'd be the one trashing on the Texans, but no, a Seahawks fan over here is trashing on the Texans. I can't. All right, well, let's just move on now to
Can't wait to hear yours.
let's move on to the Colts now. All right, so Eli, just let me talk real quick. All right,
Okay.
so to all my Colts
Or if you
fans
want me
out
to
there,
start first, and then you
no,
want to go. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
I need to get this off my head. All
All
right,
right.
all
I'm
my
gonna
Colts
stay
fans out
muted just
there,
so I can laugh.
I love you all. I love all of my Colts fans out there. Trust me. But your predictions for this upcoming season definitely confused me. I see some of you guys thinking we're gonna win like 10 or 11 games. That I'm sorry, as a Colts fan, as an optimistic Colts fan, that's just not gonna happen. We have a rookie quarterback who is still kind of a project. I love Anthony Richardson. AR is fantastic, but he's gonna have some growing pains this year. He's not gonna be perfect out of the gate. And I know they have a pretty easy schedule, but I think they're going to start the season off kind of slow and then pick it up towards the end. I have them going 6-11, the same record as the Texans, but I have them in second place in the AFC South. So because of the tiebreaker, they'll be in second. Um, I think our front seven is really good, and we're going to be good at that. We definitely need to improve in the secondary, though. We won't have Jonathan Taylor for the first 4 games because he's still on the PUP list. I honestly think there's a chance we trade him at the deadline. He still never plays for the Colts again. Also, having Jelani Woods on the IR to start the season is gonna hurt. Bit of a tough stretch to start the season. So again, 6-11. I'm sorry to my Colts fans out there. I would love to have 10 or 11 wins, but in terms of my actual predictions and what I actually truly believe is going to happen, 6-11. But that doesn't mean that's not a bad thing though. We're rebuilding. Our future is bright as long as AR pans out. And again, just this year, just be a year of growing pains. That's all. But maybe in 2 or 3, maybe in like a year or two, we'll start to really elevate and become a serious playoff contender. As for the MVP, yeah, it's got to be Anthony Richardson, especially because Jonathan Taylor is not playing. I don't even think he is going to play at all for the Colts again. Again, it'll be an up and down year for the Colts, but that's my evaluation on my Colts. My show's coming out next Wednesday, so I'll go more in depth about that. Eli, do you have any opinions about the Colts and what they're going to do this year?
6-11, Anthony Richardson MVP, third place in their division. I would love to talk more, but I'm not going to say it.
That's actually we have almost the same prediction again. I have second, you have third. That's the one difference.
Right. That's
yeah. Okay, but we have the same record though. Okay. All right,
All
let's
right.
go now to me by far the best team in the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team
No
that
question.
shocked everybody last year by winning the division. And I think Trevor Lawrence is going to win the MVP this year. Spoiler alert, I spoiled it. Trevor Lawrence is my MVP prediction, but I feel like I've said that before, so I don't really think it's much of a difference to you guys. I have them going 11-6, first place in the AFC South as well. Something that's going to help them. All their toughest games of the season come at home at TIAA Bank Field. Also interesting, they play back-to-back games in London this year, which is really quite interesting in my opinion. I think Calvin Ridley is going to be the difference, though. Christian Kirk and Zay Jones are good, but getting another great receiver like Calvin Ridley and the Jags, again, are by far the best team in this division, and they're going to be the only team in this division that even has a winning record.
The Waffle House crew will definitely win it again. And that is their go-to celebration place. I wait till they get that into the stadium. You wait and see for that. 12-5 is my record. Trevor Lawrence is the MVP winner, not my overall team MVP winner. I'll get to that later on. And first place in their division, the Waffle House crew is ready to go.
Okay, very interesting. 12-5. That's a pretty high record for a team that just had their first winning season last year for the first time since 2017. But hey, this team is good. Their defense is quite underrated. Doug Peterson is probably a top 5 coach in the league. I like the Jags a lot, even though I'm a Colts fan. I still am rooting for them to lose. But in terms of on paper and in a vacuum, they are the best team in this division. All right, let's go now to. We're just gonna keep this short and sweet. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champions. They're the best team in the NFL. They have the best quarterback in the NFL, who probably will go down as the greatest quarterback of all time when all is said and done. Travis Kelce will probably also go down as the best tight end in NFL history. Andy Reid will go down as one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. 14-3, first place in the AFC South. Rashid Rice is the MVP. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously Patrick Mahomes. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, Eli. What do you have to say about the Chiefs?
Patrick Mahomes MVP, 14-3 in the record, first place in the division. We all know they're the best team in the world. None of us want to admit it, but that's the truth. And I hate to admit it as well because I'm not a fan of the Chiefs, but I'm not going to go any further because what else are they going to say? Patrick Mahomes is the best, the best. No, it's not more. Just going to stop right there
Wow.
and move along.
You know what though? Let me say this though real quick. The Chiefs have a regular season win against 30 against Patrick Mahomes has a win in the regular season against 30 of the 31 other teams in the NFL. You know who the one team is that he doesn't have a win against?
The Cincinnati Bengals? No, no, no.
Nope, the Indianapolis Colts. He has never beaten the Colts in the regular season,
Ah,
and that hopefully will continue the next time we play the Chiefs.
sorry,
That
Jack.
is
That ain't gonna
one
happen.
of the one of the most interesting facts I've seen. Okay,
Okay.
now to stay in the AFC West, the Las Vegas Raiders, another really disappointing team last year. Especially after adding Devontae Adams, who was the best receiver at the time, finished just 6-11, missed the playoffs. They replaced Derek Carr for Jimmy Garoppolo. That's quite questionable, especially considering his injury history. And Jimmy G wasn't the X factor in San Francisco; he was just there. And I have the Raiders going 4-13, last place in the division. Max Crosby's the MVP, and they're going to probably be picking top 3 in the draft next year. This is not a good team.
Okay, I had 7-10, so I clearly did not do my research. I just guessed on that one. I'm going with Jimmy Garoppolo, and now I learned more information from you about Jimmy Garoppolo, so I'm gonna have to change it. And third in the division, so okay.
I just can't see 7 wins. If they won 6 games last year with Derek Carr, who's way better than Jimmy Garoppolo, how many are they going to win with Jimmy Garoppolo? Plus, their defense is horrible, and
We'll find out week one.
Josh McDaniels is a bad coach. Yeah, we will find out week 1. They play Denver. Should be an interesting
Easy
game.
win
Wow. Okay.
for Vegas.
Eli coming with the hot takes here. All right, just had a voice crack. Okay, let's
Okay. I don't even
let's
have one either.
let's stay in the AFC West for the third straight time. No, I did not arrange this. It's just how the alphabetical order goes. Let's head down to SoFi Stadium for the next 2 teams. Let's start with the LA Chargers, a team that just seems to underachieve every year. Their roster turns into a hospital every single year because they cannot stay healthy. I honestly don't really even. I mean, they had a 27-0 lead against Jacksonville the wild card round. They blew it, and that's going to carry into this season. I have them going 9-8, missing the playoffs because that's just what the Chargers do. We know they're going to find a way to choke. Austin Eckler is the MVP because Justin Herbert's extremely overrated. Not even a top 10 quarterback in the league, in my opinion. Although they will be second in the AFC West because the Broncos and the Raiders are not really that great either. But again, they underachieve every year, and until they actually prove that they're not pretenders, I'm not going to pick them to have any success whatsoever. So 9-8, second place, and they missed the playoffs.
Los Angeles Chargers is going to be 11-6. Justin Herbert MVP, second place, and I do in fact have them missing the playoffs. No, wait a minute. Do I?
At 11-6, that would be.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
The last team.
Hold on. I did my math wrong. Sorry. 11-6. Justin Herbert, second place division, and playoffs. I'm going to update you on that in just a second. I think I did my math wrong. Okay.
The last team to win 11 games and miss the playoffs was the Patriots in 2008. So that would be quite the. That would be quite.
I had it wrong. So just give me uno momento. And the next team, Jack. Go ahead. My bad. I noticed I did a failure on national television.
All right, let's now go to the team that the Chargers will play in Week 1. Again, we did not do this on purpose. Just the way the teams are arranged. The Miami Dolphins, a very controversial team. A lot of people think the Dolphins are the best team in this division. A lot of people think the Dolphins aren't even a playoff team. I kind of agree more with the latter. I have the Dolphins just going 9-8 and missing the. I have them missing the playoffs. Crazy enough for those of you who watching. I don't know. Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. That's really all they have on offense. Their offensive line is still shaky. They don't really have much of a rushing game, especially with Jeff Wilson missing the first few games of the season. Their tight end room is extremely questionable.
So we're skipping Rams?
Not having Jalen Ramsey until December is definitely going to hurt. So the Dolphins are going to go 9-8, finish third in the division, and miss the playoffs.
Did we skip the Rams?
Oh my God, we did.
So okay, before we get to the Rams, it's like we skipped the Rams. No, but
All right,
either way, we
sorry.
need to talk about his Seahawks fans. So Miami Dolphins 12-5, Tyreek Hill wide receiver going MVP, winner in second place division. They are going to go better than the Jets, and we all know that for sure. Move along. Let's go right back to the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to go in real quick, speed everything up. 5-12, Matthew Stafford MVP, third place in their division.
I also have third place in the division, 7-10. Aaron Donald is the MVP. Sorry, LA Rams fans, for that mistake. If there are even any Rams fans out there, because I've never met one in my life. So, yeah.
You met a
So
Seahawks
again,
fan.
and Dolphins, Tyreek Hill is the MVP. I think I forgot to mention that. Yeah, we're going to try to speed this up because I see the time has been going on. I'm sorry that we're holding Sal, but, this is one of our biggest videos. So we wanted to go
Yes,
really
and
in
we
depth. Let's go to the Minnesota Vikings now, a team that went 11-0 last year in one-score games. That is not going to happen again. I have the Vikings going 8-9, missing the playoffs. So they're going to be second place, though, because that division is weak. Justin Jefferson, obviously, as the MVP. But again, they're not going to go 11-0 in one-score games again. That's just not going to happen. And this team is just not really as good as I think they showed last year. Although I do like Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator, but I think the Lions are clearly the better team now. They're going to miss the playoffs in 2023.
Minnesota Vikings third place, missing the playoffs, 8-9 record. Kirk Cousins quarterback is MVP winner.
Wow. I'm surprised you're going with him over Justin Jefferson, but interesting decision. Let's go now to
New York.
the New England
New Orleans.
Patriots.
Right.
All
Knew
right.
that.
Hear me out, guys. I think the Patriots are going to be second place in the division. I have them going
No.
10-7 and making the playoffs. I think Bill O'Brien is a really good offensive coordinator. Yes, he's he is a horrible general manager. I mean, he traded away DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, but strictly as an offensive coordinator, he was phenomenal. He used to be the offensive coordinator in New England.
So you're putting Miami at third just to put New England in second. Is that what
I
you're
sure
telling me?
am. I think Bill Belichick, I mean, it's all about the experience. And Bill Belichick might be on the hot seat this year, so he's going to go out there and show why he's the greatest coach of all time. Mac Jones, I think, is going to have a bounce back year, especially because Matt Patricia's not there anymore. He single-handedly brought the Patriots down last year. They've got some nice weapons on offense. The O-line's always good with Belichick, and he has the greatest defensive mind in the game. They're not as good as the Bills, but I think they're better than the Dolphins, and they're also better than the Jets. 10-7 and making the playoffs. Maybe my hottest take of the entire video.
I had to hold the microphone for this because it was horrible. Okay, so New England Patriots, I'm going 7-10. Ezekiel Elliott, the running back, is going to be MVP winner, fourth in their division. And Jack, I don't know why you're saying second place when you have the Miami Dolphins as a better team, but okay, I guess. Wow, that is one of the interesting hot takes I have. And wow, one of the interesting hot takes you had, actually. I'm gonna say that. And okay, it's moving right along.
Yep. Now to the
And by the way, I forgot to mention Bill Belichick. He was only good as a coach because of Tom Brady. If it wasn't for Tom Brady, his success would have been ended years and years ago, and we all know that.
fair enough, but I mean, he still is one of the best defensive minds in NFL history. I don't care what anybody says. All right, let's go to there's 4 teams in the NFL that start with new. The New Orleans Saints, team that the majority of people are picking to win this division. I disagree. I'm going with 9-8, which is still a solid record, but they're going to miss the playoffs. I have Marshawn Lattimore as the MVP, and what's going to happen? They play the Falcons in Week 18. It's going to be the winner-take-all game, and the Falcons are going to win it. They're going to win the division, and the Saints are going to lose and go home, and they're going to miss the playoffs for the third straight year.
I agree 100%. 8-9 New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr winning the MVP, second in their division, and Atlanta Falcons. I agree 100%. Will indeed, in fact, do the winner.
I don't agree. I don't agree with Derek Carr being the MVP. I think they overpaid him a lot. He's not a bad quarterback, but I don't know how he's going to fit there. And I think Dennis Allen's kind of a weak coach, so I don't really know how that's going to work out. But yeah, Saints, a lot of people are picking them to win the division. I think they're going to just slightly miss out at 9-8. But they'll definitely be better than last year, especially because they had Andy Dalton as their quarterback last year. So
yeah.
All okay. Right, Next up is the New York Giants, a team that I am very high on. I have the Giants winning the NFC North with an 11-6 record. Again, they play the Eagles in the final week, and they'll win that game, and they'll have the tiebreaker over the Eagles to win the division. Danny Dimes is the MVP. I think he's really going to break out this year. The addition of Darren Waller was key. Jalen Hyatt's going to break out and emerge as the number 1 receiver. The O-line is going to improve. Andrew Thomas is one of the best in the league. Saquon is back. The new field is going to help them, hopefully help them continue to stay healthy. The defense is also really underrated, added some nice players in both the draft and free agency. Yeah, I think the Giants are going to finish ahead of the Eagles. Call me crazy, but Giants first place in this division.
Dan Graziano mentioned it last week on our show Wednesday. There has been no repeat in the NFC East of a champion of the NFC.
Right,
I'm
right.
going with the New York Giants. They had a phenomenal year last year, and I believe that New York Giants team is going to go far this year. They're going to win in first place in their division, first place in the playoffs. I have them 11-6, and Daniel Jones as a quarterback MVP. Now, why not Seattle? I'll get to that in a little bit.
So you have the Giants as the number one seed in the NFC.
Correct.
Wow, that is definitely a hot take, but I could get behind it. They've got a really deep team.
They have
Brian
a chance.
Daboll is a great coach.
And I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it since we have the time. Not really. I'm not choosing Seattle just because Seattle is just it's a new team. It's good, and they're gonna make the playoffs. Trust me on this. But I'm not too sure if I'm confident with them winning first place. So I have them in second, and I'll explain more of that later on. But yeah,
All right, let's go to now the other New York team, the Jets, who play
New York
Buffalo, as you
Jets.
mentioned, on Monday night. And sorry, Jets fans, I just don't think they're going to be good. The last time a team brought in a veteran quarterback in Nathaniel Hackett was the Denver Broncos last year, and they finished horrible. I think because like how big the spotlight is, everybody's going to have their eyes on the Jets. I think they're just going to collapse. I have them going 7-10, last place in this division, missing the playoffs. Again, they have some great players like Garrett Wilson. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is still really good. They've got one of the best defenses in the league. But again, I just think that they have some tough games as well. And I just don't know how legit this team is until they actually prove it on the field. I think they're pretenders. So I'm going 7-10, missing the playoffs. Garrett Wilson, or excuse me, Sauce Gardner as the MVP. But again, last place in this division. Controversial take, I know, but what can you say?
8-9, Aaron Rodgers is the MVP as the MVP, third place in their division. They're going to do a lot better than the Patriots. They're missing the playoffs for sure. This is not their year. This is not their team. And we all know it's going to be a failure. But at the same time, the way I predicted it, some Jets fans are going to be happy. Others are going to be like, it's just the same old every single year.
Right, it's gonna, yeah, just. But they won't be a boring team to watch though, because
No, they won't be because they now have Aaron Rodgers. But I still don't believe in them.
All right, let's go to the Philadelphia Eagles now. Guys, the Super Bowl hangover for the losing team is real. The last time a team that lost the Super Bowl made it back to the Super Bowl the year after, the 2017 New England Patriots. Before that, I honestly don't even know. It's been quite a while after that since the losing team in a Super Bowl got back the next year. The Eagles are still going to be great, though. They're going to go 11-6. They'll be a wild card team because I think the Giants are going to win the tiebreaker. They'll have a better conference record, but they'll make the playoffs as a wild card. Jalen Hurts is the MVP. This team is still loaded top to bottom, but I also think losing both your coordinators is going to hurt. I think there might be a bit of rust at the start of the season for this team, but they're still a great team, and they're going to be a great team for years to come. They've just got a great roster top to bottom.
This is a new team, and this is a new beginning for this Philadelphia Eagles team. I indeed have them as 10-7. Jalen Hurts as the quarterback MVP, and second in their division. Philadelphia Eagles have a bright new future ahead of them. I do admit, though, there will be some coordinator changes, as we mentioned, with the offensive and defensive side. However, I don't think that'll be a huge issue. My main goal is and focus at this point is just saying, hey, Philadelphia has it. They're going to be a team that's going to be in there. They're going to be a wild card team, in my opinion, and they're also going to be in sixth place in the wild card, and that's how I have it.
Fair enough. All right, now let's go to the other side of the Keystone State, to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that shocked everyone last year by going 9-8 with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett as the quarterbacks. Team that a lot of people have been high on in the preseason. I'm buying it. I have the Steelers going 10-7. I know it's only one more win compared to last year, but the division's tough. The Ravens and the Bengals are still both better in my opinion, but I have them going third in the AFC North. Kenny Pickett's going to have a monster second year. George Pickens, you could say the same about. The defense will always be good with TJ Watt. Mike Tomlin has still never had a losing season in the NFL. He's coached now 16 seasons for the Steelers, 0 losing seasons. The last time the Steelers had a losing season was 2003. They've had 3 head coaches since 1969. So I have the Steelers going 10-7, and I think they're gonna. And I have some hot takes for the Steelers when we go to the week 1 predictions next week. So, but
Okay.
I am a believer though in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even though as much as I
Eight
hate them as a Colts fan.
8 and 9 on the predictions. Kenny Pickett MVP winner, third place in their division. Another rebuilding team, and I have them missing the playoffs. They had a chance, but they missed it.
And it's a fair take. I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the AFC. I think with Mike Tomlin though, they're always going to be a good team. Let's go now to Eli's least favorite team in the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers.
Boo.
Okay. All right. I'm going to make this really short and sweet so Eli can talk about them. Actually, I'm going to let him talk about the next 2 teams because I know he has lots to say. So I'll just go through these 2 really quick. Niners 14-3. Trent Williams, the offensive lineman, is the MVP because he is one of the best players in the NFL. And offensive linemen don't get credit. First in the NFC West, it doesn't matter which quarterback is behind center; they're going to be that good. And then to the other team, the Seahawks, 11-6, second in the division. They'll be one of the wild card teams. Geno is the MVP, and in my opinion, they had the best offseason of any team. But Eli, let out your words about both these 2 NFC West teams.
San Francisco 49ers, make it a short and sweet. They're going 10-7, second in the division. Brock Purdy is the MVP winner. I am not a fan of the San Francisco 49ers, never will be, but I think their injury is going to definitely stop them. And especially with that mess in that NFC Championship last year, it is going to be another interesting rough year. And I have them actually in the wild card as well. Seattle Seahawks, of course, going to be in first place in the NFC West. No surprise. And unfortunately, I will not say 17-0 because that's too generous of me. I'm actually going with 11-6 for the Seattle Seahawks. They're going to have a few losses. And instead of having a quarterback as the MVP for the Seattle Seahawks, Tyler Lockett's going to do the MVP job. One of the best wide receivers out there. And first place in their division. And we all know Tyler Lockett is the key to the Seahawks team, as well as DK Metcalf. There is no question about it. This Seahawks team is loaded this year with their addition during the draft this year was incredible, and I'm super excited. I'm ready to go, and let's just say this is a team to look out for, and I also have them going to the Super Bowl.
Of course you do. Keep in mind though, the 4 games the Niners lost last year, one came in the mud bowl against the Bears. Another came because Jimmy G stepped a little too far back in the end zone. Another one came because they literally had no players healthy, and the other one was against the Chiefs because they're just that good. But yeah,
Right.
so 49ers first place. I don't care what you say, Eli. Let's move on now to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before this gets a little more out of hand. Bucks, they won 8 games last year with Tom Brady. Now they have the incredibly scary duo of Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. I like Baker Mayfield, but I don't like this team. 4-13, last place in the division. They're going to be probably picking top 3 in the draft. Mike Evans is the MVP because he's the only player in NFL history to have 1,000 yards in each of his first 9 NFL seasons. I think he's going to bring it to 10 this year. I don't care who his quarterback is. He's done it with Jameis Winston before. And
Mike Evans.
So, yes, 4-13, last place in the division. QB situation is a total disaster.
QB situation is a disaster. Making it short and sweet, 7-10. I do have a little bit more faith in them than I do with the Carolina Panthers. Mike Evans, the wide receiver, is going to be my MVP this year. Third place in their division, and another fun ride in the NFC South.
Let me ask you though, Tom Brady won 8 games last year as the starter. Baker Mayfield is significantly worse than him, and you have them only losing one less game, or excuse me, winning one less game.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Very, very interesting. Let's move on now to the final 2. We've got 2 more teams to go, and then we'll talk about the playoff brackets and then all that stuff. The Tennessee Titans, of course, my least favorite, probably my least favorite team in the NFL. Their fans are crazy. They complain about or they
same
talk about
division.
all their recent success against us. They forget but we went 17-3 against them from 2009 to 2018. I think they're also going to go 6-11 because of the tiebreakers, though, last place in the division. As for the MVP, obviously it's going to be Derrick Henry. Again, they're going to be last place in this division. And they're 2-run. That's cost the Titans the last few years, especially in the playoffs. They can run the ball all they want. They just keep getting beat by more high-powered offenses. So it's not going to end well for Tennessee in 2023.
Well, hey, Diego, thank you for watching. Number 1,
Tennessee. Appreciate it.
Tennessee Titans. I'm having them 7-10. DeAndre Hopkins, the wide receiver, as the MVP winner, and second division AFC South. They're going to be better than the Colts. And I'm just going to get my mouth shut before something else.
Don't make me do it, Eli. All right. Let's go. All right. We got one more
I don't know
team
what
left
you're
before
gonna
we get
do.
to playoff
Okay.
bracket predictions. The Washington Commanders, a team with a new future. And I just want to say real quick, congrats to the Commanders fans. You guys have sold out your first home game on next Sunday, week 1 against Arizona. You have sold out the stadium. Congratulations. I can't recall them doing that at all when they had Dan Snyder as the owner. As for their record this year, though, they're not going to be too great. I have them going 6-11 in last place simply because of how loaded this division is. And also, I don't know how much Sam Howell is going to be. I don't know how good Sam Howell is going to be. Scary Terry is the MVP. In other words, Terry McLaurin, last place in the division. But hey, Commanders fans, your future is bright. And no matter what happens this year, you know you have a bright future to look forward to.
Last place in the division, 7-10. Jonathan Allen, the defensive line, is my MVP winner. Fourth place in their division. No shot that it's great for the new management change. However, that is not going to stop the failure for this Washington Commanders team, regardless if they have a new GM or not. And we all know
I
that.
like the Jonathan Allen pick. That's an underrated sneaky pick for MVP for that team. All right, so now that we're done going through all the teams and their record predictions, let's go through what playoff teams we're going to have. So I'll go first, starting with my AFC teams. The Chiefs will be the number 1 seed at 14-3, and they'll have the first round bye. Cincinnati is the 2. I've got Buffalo as the 3. Jacksonville is the 4. So Buffalo and Jacksonville the same record, but Buffalo will win the tiebreaker because I think they're going to beat Jacksonville in London. As for my 3 wildcard teams, the Ravens are the 5 seed, the first wild card. The Patriots are the second wild card, and the Pittsburgh Steelers sneak in at the 7 seed. Go ahead and tell us your AFC playoff teams.
AFC. Of course, it's gonna be Kansas City number 1, no shot about it, and no doubt about it. Rather, second place Cincinnati, third place Buffalo, fourth place Jacksonville, fifth place Miami, sixth place will be Los Angeles, and seventh place is gonna be Baltimore.
Interesting picks there. Almost similar in some ways, other that I have the Patriots and you don't have the Steelers.
Right. I had
Yeah,
the Steelers until I forgot about Los Angeles.
almost. So I have the Patriots and the Steelers. You have the Dolphins and the Chargers as the
Right.
playoff teams. In fact, all 3 of your wild card teams are the same ones that made it in last year.
Right.
In fact, all of your playoff teams are all your 7 AFC playoff teams are the exact same ones that made it last year. How interesting.
I have faith.
Just notice that. All right, NFC playoff teams. I've got the Niners as the 1 seed, the Giants as the 2, the Detroit Lions as the 3, the Falcons at the 4, the Eagles will be the first wild card team, followed by Seattle at the 6, and Minnesota at the 7. So Minnesota will sneak in. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Minnesota with 9-8. I said 8-9 before. I meant 9-8.
New York Giants in first place. Second is Seattle, of course. Detroit in third. Atlanta in fourth. San Francisco in fifth. Philadelphia in sixth, and Green Bay in seventh. I have more faith in Seattle. Green Bay is going to sneak themselves right in on into the plate, and yeah.
Yeah, interesting picks there for sure. Let's get into the playoff bracket. Again, this is way too early. This is definitely going to be wrong, but I'll start off with the AFC. Let's start off with the wild cards on the AFC. I've got the Bengals over the Steelers. I've got the Patriots. I've got the Patriots going on the road and beating the Buffalo Bills in the wild card round. And I've got the Baltimore Ravens defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road. In the NFC, I've got the Giants as the 2 defeating the 7 seed Vikings. I've got the Detroit Lions knocking out the Seattle Seahawks. Sorry to say that, Eli, you're going out in the wild card round for the 2nd straight year. And I've got the Eagles over the Falcons. That's a pretty obvious one. So
Shame on you. Shame on you. Whatever. Cincinnati is going to be Baltimore. Buffalo is going to be Los Angeles. And Jacksonville is going to be Miami. For the NFC, Seattle is beating Green Bay. No shot about it. No doubt about it. Detroit, I have them losing to Philadelphia. And I have San Francisco beating Atlanta.
Yeah, that's pretty solid picks all around. In the divisional round, let's move on to there. I've got the Chiefs over the Patriots, so the Patriots Cinderella run will end there. I've got the Bengals over the Ravens, and in the NFC, I've got the Niners over the Eagles, and I've got the Lions going on the road and knocking out the New York Giants.
Okay, I have Kansas City beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have Cincinnati beating Buffalo, and I have New York Giants beating Philadelphia and Seattle beating San Francisco.
Okay. All right, in the championship now, Bengals over Chiefs and Lions over 49ers. So my Super Bowl 58 prediction: the Detroit Lions against the Cincinnati Bengals. Go ahead,
Okay.
Eli, with
I
your
have
champion.
Kansas City versus Cincinnati and New York Giants versus Seattle, and I have Cincinnati versus Seattle in the Super Bowl.
All right, so we both think the Bengals are going to make it. So for my Super Bowl prediction, I am going with the Cincinnati Bengals to win their first. My Super Bowl pick, they're both teams that have 0 Super Bowl. So one of them is going to win their first Super Bowl, and it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals by a final score of 31-27. The Lions will be back, though, for sure, but I just think they come up just short in 2023.
Seattle beating Cincinnati 28-21.
Okay. Well, if it's right, then God bless. But if not, then yeah. All right, final thing we're going to talk about here before we wrap this up. I know this has been a longer episode than normal, but had to get season predictions. Want to make this as in depth as possible. Week 1 predictions will be next Tuesday. Yep. So let's talk about my MVP. I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. Just really think he's going to help elevate the Jags this year into a true AFC powerhouse. Eli, who's your MVP prediction?
I'm going with Geno Smith.
Wait. So you have Geno Smith as the MVP, but you don't even have him as the MVP of your own team. You have Tyler Lockett as the MVP, but you have Geno Smith
I'm
winning the
switching it.
NFL MVP.
I'm switching it for
Okay,
the overall.
we've got a homer. Whoops, pointing the wrong way. This way.
Still
Sorry,
doing
that
it
way.
wrong.
Yeah, bit of a homer here. Offensive Player of the Year, Nick Chubb, best running back in the league. He's going to continue to help the Browns this year. He's going to be the reason why they win 7 games. Without him, they're probably like a 4-win team. So Nick Chubb is going to help the Browns win 7 games, and he's going to be the Offensive Player of the Year.
Tyler Lockett.
Oh my goodness, this is getting ridiculous. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to hurt you here. Fred Warner of the 49ers.
Yeah, I had Aaron Donald, so.
Okay. All right. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I've got to go with Bijan Robinson.
I have Bijan too. He's great.
All right. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson.
I have him too.
Oh, wow. Okay. Coach of the Year, Dan Campbell. He's going to lead the Lions.
Brian Campbell.
He won it last year.
Who says he can't win it again?
All right, whatever.
Super Bowl twice, so.
Comeback Player of the Year. I mean, there's really no other choices. It has to be DeMar Hamlin.
I agree.
Sure.
There is no doubt about it.
Pretty much like because of like his story, it's got to be him. And congrats, he made the 53-man roster. All right, so I think that's going to do it here. We have gone through. Thank you guys for sticking with us. For those of you who have been watching this whole time, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for next Tuesday where we go with our week 1 predictions. This was our overall season predictions. Our week 1 predictions will be next Tuesday. My show, the Horseshoe Show, will air Wednesday night for the Colts season predictions and week 1 predictions against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thank you everyone for watching.
And also if you're interested in tomorrow, Sports and Mano Mano will be interviewing Arda Ocal for 30 minutes before the regular show kicks off for the hour. And then so please join us. It begins at 10 o'clock. We'll be interviewing Arda Ocal. And if you have any questions, tag at Sports and Mano Mano on Twitter, and we'll be happy to read your question out loud.
Are you just doing the interview, or is Jim going to do it too?
Jim is, it's it for him.
Oh, are you going to be on it with?
I am going to be on with him. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Make sure you guys tune into that tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Saturday morning. Go Rutgers. They're playing this Sunday, their first game. So hopefully they win. But thank you guys for watching. For Elijah Weintraub, I am Jack Rizzo. Thank you for tuning into the 12th Horseshoe Podcast. And we will see you next Tuesday for the week 1 predictions. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in.